Thank you everyone for being here today for our third expert panel slash creator talk. Thank you so much all of you for being here today, for being here still in August. What are you even doing? You should be on vacation, seriously. But for those of you who are here, I really appreciate it. And I'm actually really excited for today's talk because it's going to give us a different perspective on the topic of AI that everybody is just talking about nowadays, okay? Before we get into today's conversation that will help you understand better AI, how it works, all the current trends that you can potentially write, and also what the business world is going to look like in the next 5 years, including not just the beautiful things, but also the potential concerns, the challenges as well. I just want to very quickly give a few shout-outs. The very first one is to Peel Creative, the two beautiful gentlemen right in front of me and first row. They are in charge of producing this entire event, making sure that everything is going to be shared afterwards, so you can review it. Obviously, you can take notes and everything you want, but this will all be uploaded to YouTube. Then also a big shout out to Itnig, which is Barcelona's biggest startup ecosystem. This is one of their main spaces. They have some other spaces over there. They invest into startups, and they have one of the biggest Spanish-speaking podcasts in the whole world. And it actually happens right here. So just sitting here is already a huge honor. And so if you actually want to connect with Spanish entrepreneurs, I highly recommend coming here on Thursdays for their live podcasts. And then finally, I also want to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Earth's Secret. It's a natural supplements company. I've been taking it now for months. I had been taking supplements before. And honestly, I've never felt so good. And the best part about it is that you know exactly what's in it. Everything is fully natural. Today, I took 2 pills of balance with ashwagandha and some organic black pepper and stuff like that. And yeah, today was crazy, crazy productive. So huge shout out to Earth Secret. If you have any questions about it, you can come to me afterwards. And other than that, let's get started. And actually, one last but, just for all of us to arrive here, to ground just for a second. We've all had our meetings all day, running around, it's hot, whatever. I just really want us to ground for just 1 minute. And all we're going to do is just 5, I was going to say quick, but not quick, slow, deep breaths. You can do them at your own pace. You can either just do them like very deep through your belly. What I personally recommend is to inhale deeply through the belly. Once you get to the top, you do another, and then very slowly throughout the mouth. Okay? So we're just going to do 5 of these. And just put all your attention at your body and notice how you feel before versus after, okay? All right, let's close our eyes real quick. I'm gonna be looking at you. I'm checking. And let's inhale in. Slowly open your eyes. Look how you feel. Just a few minutes ago versus now. All your worries hopefully gone and ready to pay attention to these incredible speakers that we have here today. Let's start with a big round of applause to Erik and Alejandro. So today's conversation is going to be around AI and specifically what the world of AI or just what the world is going to look like in the next 5 years, whether it's in your daily life, and also, very importantly, in the business side of things, right? There's a lot of things that are happening. Everybody's now talking about it. There's like, this is the new automation, this is the new tool. And actually, everybody seems to be an expert nowadays, right? But how often do we actually get to speak to someone who fully understands the technology behind it? Today, we have 2 technical experts who have been, diving very deep into the world of AI for more than 5 years, 10 combined years actually. And some of them are very involved in the startup world. Another one has more of a researcher approach. And like I mentioned earlier, we will go deep into first understanding AI, right? What are we really grappling ourselves with? Then what are some of the trends, right? What are some of the trends that we can actually apply right now into our lives in business? And then we'll go deep into what the world holds. What is it going to look like in 5 years? And how can we get ready for this revolution that we're living in? Of course, we're going to talk about the concerns, the challenges, and everything else. At the very end, we'll have some space for questions, so make sure you write them down, okay? And actually, today's expert panel is going to be a little bit different from the previous ones. The previous ones were like very directed questions. You do this, you do this, you do this. Today is going to be more of a dialogue, okay? So I also urge you guys to challenge each other. If you have a different point of view, please, we encourage that. And so I'm going to start with some very quick introductions. To my left, we have Erik Gorón. Welcome to the stage, Erik Gorón, a seasoned machine learning engineer with a rich 5-year trajectory in the AI sector. Erik's career began with a deep dive into AI research, where he tackled both theoretical and applied problems in machine learning models and neural networks. His work notably includes advancements in computer vision, especially focusing on a facial emotion recognition and action recognition. I don't even know what that means, but sounds very fancy. In recent years, Erik has shifted his focus towards voice and speech technologies, along with psychological AI applications, reflecting the cutting edge of AI development. Currently, Erik is applying his extensive knowledge and expertise at Maaind, a dynamic startup where he continues to push the boundaries of AI and innovation. He's also a little bit of a Hindi hacker, always developing new Chrome extensions. Every time I see him, he's like, "Yo, check this thing out, check that thing out." Really a huge inspiration, and a big round of applause for Erik, please. And then last but not least, we have Alejandro Bonell. Joining us today is Alejandro Bonell, a highly accomplished AI professional with a solid academic background in mathematics and applied mathematics to AI from EPFL, Switzerland. Alejandro's impressive career encompasses roles in data science and machine learning engineering, culminating in his leadership as the head of data science at an AI startup where he led a team of over 20 professionals. His vast experience in data-driven strategies and AI application has transitioned into his current role as an AI consultant at Visium, a Swiss consultancy firm. Alejandro's work now focuses on helping businesses harness the power of AI to solve complex challenges and drive innovation. Alrighty. Thank you so much. ¿El micro funciona?
Hello, can you hear me?
No, I can't.
No?
Thank you.
Like this? Okay,
Yeah,
so-
see. Very nice. So we're gonna start first trying to understand AI a little bit better, okay? And I'm wondering, how would you define artificial intelligence? People are now talking about narrow and general AI, right? What does it even mean when something is general AI? Do you mean that it's more like human-like thinking, right? And what current stage are we really on, right? The kind of AI we're interacting with, are we talking more of this narrow AI? Is it the general? And if you could, help us understand it better, I would really, really appreciate it.
Hey, guys, do you hear me? Okay. Thank you for the introduction. It's louder, no? So, yeah, well, AI is like super broad topic, right? A super broad concept. So first, maybe I could simply define what I think AI is, which is simply mimicking, so machines trying to mimic human intelligence, or simulating our intelligence, and machines that are able to perceive their environment, so data, and ideally also solve problems, so human-like problems, so through the processing of that data. So we talk a lot about AI, but we are actually machine learning engineers. So what maybe I could also talk a little bit about, like the difference between AI and machine learning, if that's it's a bit technical, but nowadays most of AI systems are machine learning systems. So the main difference is simply that machine learning systems are machines that learn from data. That's the difference. And machine learning is a subset of AI. So there's more to AI than just machine learning. But when we talk about AI, nowadays with all these GPTs and all of this stuff that we hear, this is machine learning. Okay. So yeah, anything you want to add?
So I'd love to know kind of what's the main difference between narrow AI and general AI, and where are we currently at, right? And where are we going next?
Yeah. So narrow, I'm not exactly sure if you mean that, but so before all the GPTs, like from before 2022, machine learning and AI was mainly focused on like discriminative machine learning. So small models that can make classifications, such as like simply spam classification or like a regression task. So really specific tasks from domains. And after like for the last few years, we focused more on generative AI. And this generative AI is basically generating data, generating text, generating images, and that's generative. Maybe you're talking more about general. Maybe you wanna general.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Yes, what I would say is first, as Eric said, like what we are trying to do today is before we had like this programming, because give instructions to machine is very difficult, no? When we think about this, and years ago, the idea is to do like very simple things. We needed like big programs that give a set of instructions, and then the machine could do this. Years after, some problems that for us maybe are trivial, like to distinguish if an image of a cat is a cat or a dog. For us, it's something that is very trivial. But if you think of that, for a machine, it's a very complex problem. And thanks to machine learning, we could, and data, we could show to machines how to learn patterns, and learning from a lot of images, learning from data, seeing a lot of examples, seeing a lot of images. I can understand and I can see patterns, and then I'm able to generalize. And that was like a bit maybe narrow AI, where we take data from very simple problems and we show machines how to learn and generalize into these problems. And today, maybe we are arriving in another state where machines can do many things at the same time. No, today a machine is not only able maybe to differentiate between, like it sees a picture and is not only able to differentiate like if it's a cat or a dog, but it can do many things at the same time. It can tell you exactly what's in this picture. It can even send the picture to a colleague. It can do multiple things, and that could be generalized AI. Because at the end, what could be the best, like what we are searching maybe is to have a generalized intelligence that can like simulate a bit what humans do. But of course, this is a very complicated task, and we are still very far from this.
What is far? Are we talking 5 years? Are we talking 20? Are we talking 100 years? Because I mean, everything is just growing exponentially at this point, right? And especially, we'll dive deeper into this, right? But now applying AI, even to the AI sector alone, or to all the other industries, is just going to make everything go so much faster, right?
Yes, and like for this to arrive, like we need two things. No, we need first a lot of data, because when there is like machines need to learn from somewhere, and afterwards we need computational power. Like to this today we have limited computational power, and it's something that we would need a lot. But I think to arrive to that level of being able to simulate like human intelligence, we need 10 or like more than 10 years, I would say. Like maybe it's, you never know what can we expect, but that would be my feeling. At the end, today even we see like machines that are making like very silly mistakes, and I'm sure like we use ChatGPT and sometimes you said things and you see like a very unexpected answer. And one mistake that we humans do a lot is that we think that machines think like we think, but they have a very different process of how to learn. And sometimes trivial things for us are very complicated things to machines. And that's why even today, when we see ChatGPT, those crazy things, but afterwards also makes very simple mistakes. I don't know if you want to.
No, yeah, yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. I think currently, like, AI can solve extremely complex problems that are hard for us. But then again, yeah, there's really mundane problems that it cannot really solve. So, and it's going to be really hard to get to the point of like AGI or like a general intelligence and
AGI is?
like artificial general intelligence.
Okay. And artificial general intelligence is more of this singularity kind of topic, meaning, and let's try to really bring these concepts down, right? Because earlier you said regression, and I was like, what the hell is regression? Are we talking with AGI, that they're becoming smarter than humans, right?
Well, I think there's a problem also of definition. Like a lot of people would say, like maybe 5 years ago, that what we have now is AGI. So like depends on how you define it, right? Like I think nowadays we have, like with these LLMs, we have crazy technologies that can do like solve a lot of complex tasks, and in some way that is already AGI. But again, like there's a lot of problems that that we can solve and machines cannot. So if they're not able to solve them, like we're not, like general AI would be like a machine that is able to solve all of our human problems, and even like make them easier for us, somehow. So yeah, it's everyone defines AGI differently, and I feel like we kind of underestimate a little bit the advances we've made so far on AI. If we look back to like 5 years ago again, like if we saw what we have today, a lot of people would have said, "Oh, this is AGI,"
I'm curious, what are some common misconceptions about the current state of AI, and especially around what it's really capable of?
Okay, so maybe I can talk about, like, for example, in my job today, what I do is with my company, we try to create AI products for other companies. No, so companies, for example, might think like, okay, we want an AI solution that tells me when the price of, I don't know, of gold is cheap because we need gold to build a product. Something like, I know it makes no sense, but just to give an example. So they come up with things, and we try then to build an AI solution so that it makes their life easy. And sometimes we find many misconceptions. I would say the most common one is people think that AI work super well. Like AI doesn't make mistakes, that they will be able to have a working model that really does everything perfect. And I would say that's a big misconception. I think AI today makes many mistakes, and we still need to educate a lot towards how to use well AI, how to train AI. And if we think about this, even like today, there are not that many AI products that we use in our day-to-day life. Like before, there was Google Translate, I think was one of the first products that everyone used that worked really well. Now we have ChatGPT, which everyone is using it. But there are not that many products, or even in healthcare. Like how many times have we heard about they are doing these crazy things in AI in healthcare where doctors won't even be necessary because they already give you diagnostics. But afterwards, you don't really see these products are being commercialized. And I would say this is a big misconception that I see a lot between customers that come to us.
Yeah, no, I just want to little bit linger on that point. So yeah, again, as you said, AI systems are inherently like they will have errors always. There's no way to have a perfect AI. So yeah, and also AIs are as good as the data you train them on. So if your data, that's also something we see in our company. So we try to build speech emotion recognition systems. So trying to predict your emotion from voice, and it works quite well, but it's quite limited because the models are limited by the data, right? And the data, where do we take it from? Mainly by taking samples from people talking, and then other people, annotators, will label that data, right? And tell, oh, this, you're happy or you're sad, right? And so think about it, we're actually quite bad at doing that. So, if we have a lot of uncertainty on how to label this data, the AIs that are gonna learn from that data are gonna be also quite bad, at it. And it's really hard to get past that stage, or of getting better than data. There's no way. Like, AI is as good as the data you use is.
Yeah, to add maybe like an example that I heard the other day, and I thought it was like really crazy. It was I don't know which country, but they trained a model for military purposes. The idea was, okay, we have like satellites that are taking images. Then I want like to have a model connected to these images that is telling me if there are tanks or there aren't. And then to train this model, what they do, because to train the model, you need to show like first examples to the model. They took their tanks, they did pictures about them, and then they show the model like, okay, this is a picture where a tank appears and everything. And these are pictures where there are no tanks. And they did a mistake. It's that all of these pictures that they took were taken in the morning. And in the images, you see the hour. So afterwards, they saw like they had the model was doing super good on the data that they showed to the model, and they had a very high accuracy. And afterwards, when they put this in the real life production, they saw like it's not working well, and we don't know why. It's actually the model. What it learned is, okay, if the hours are like during the morning, like 10 a.m., something like this, there are tanks, and if not, there are no tanks. So this is how this is to see like how models learn. Like they don't learn as for us. It could be obvious to see, okay, this is a tank, I see it, like everything, but they need to learn from the data. And if you make mistakes like this in the data and add bias, then you can have it could be really dangerous and have things like this that happen.
100%. And so clearly AI is not perfect yet. There's things that still need to be improved, and I'm sure will be improved, right? But what are some current AI trends that you are really, really excited about?
So, well, there's a lot of trends nowadays. There's a lot of things I'm excited about. Maybe related also to my work. So I'm really excited about seeing, and I think it's coming, models. So AI models that are personalized on your persona. So nowadays we have these like quite generalized, huge models that can do a lot of tasks. I think the future is more close to having many models that are personalized, trained with your data, and then they can help you like day to day on your tasks, and it will be probably trained on your biometrics. So it could tell you maybe, oh, maybe now you should maybe breathe now because you're really tired, or maybe it could tell you you're a bit nervous now. Maybe you should go for a walk. So I'm pretty excited about that, about the personalization of the models.
So it's kind of like we're going to have personal LLMs, language learning models, that are gonna basically know everything about us, way, way better than we are able to even know about ourselves.
Yeah,
What are
probably.
the implications of that?
So yeah, probably. So the main problems of that in terms of privacy, right, happens when these models are hosted in the cloud. Like basically, these models are not your property, okay? And so other companies own these models. And currently, that's what's happening with GPT, right? Like ChatGPT, it's not on your computer; it's actually on the cloud, right? But I think eventually most of these models are going to be so tiny that they're going to be able to put them in your computer, in your phone. So you will own the data, you will own the models. So nobody will be able to actually track your data or access it, and you will be benefit from learning from these models. You know, it will assist you throughout your day.
And I mean, this maybe sounds a little bit more like 1-2 years. Maybe it's just around the corner, actually. Do you see any trends that are already kind of in motion and some people are overlooking, especially more on the business side of things?
Yeah, maybe, of course, what Eric said, to give maybe an example that we all have, it's in our iPhone, like the facial recognition, like it's something that we all have, but it's personalized to each person, no? So your facial recognition system won't be able to detect me, and mine neither you, but they are personalized to recognize ourselves. So this would be like also an example. And a trend that for example, that I use a lot, because we were criticizing a lot AI, but of course it's doing crazy things. And for example, regarding my day-to-day life, like for coding purposes, it's crazy. Like to at the end to build AI programs, you need to do some programming, and today maybe you can increase your productivity like by 2 or 3 times faster, thanks to AI. Like it already, like you can tell, like, okay, please do this program, and it will do it like pretty good. And it can, and that's something that I think no one could have think of maybe 2 years ago, because everyone saw programming like this is a very challenging task. It's very difficult not to automate these things, and it's crazy how well it has done like these things. And maybe what was like things that,
Like, I think there's some trends that everybody is just talking about.
yeah,
Do you see anything, right? Like, you're more involved in the, on the back end of things, right? You're more involved, actually developing the products, researching where things are going, right? Is there something that us average people, who just know some really nice prompts on ChatGPT and think we're cool, that we're not seeing, right? That could really benefit us personally or professionally?
yeah, one thing, yeah, you want to go? Okay, one thing maybe. And actually we were the other day with Eric, and because generative AI is a very, very big model and needs a lot of, like, they need a lot of computer power, computational power to go. And we were seeing like a company which was able to run like ChatGPT super fast. Like it was crazy. Like in 1 second, you could have already a page written. And this is something that would be a change maker, because today, like, many people complain about generative AI being slow, and when you want to automate things with generative AI, you have to send prompts, and these prompts then have to go to the OpenAI server, and maybe the whole process takes like 30 seconds. And if you can have this like in 1 second, it really makes a difference and saves a lot of time. And this is something that yeah, I think that here it might be somewhere where they can do a lot of things.
So another trend that I think is going to revolutionize in the next 5 years, and nowadays there's a lot of companies, startups working on this, and it's going to revolutionize, I think, business in general, are agents. So I don't know if you're familiar with agents, but maybe to quickly explain what agents are. So you see ChatGPT or these LLMs, they're not able to see their environment, right? They're not able to act in their environment. So it's quite limited, right? But with agents, what you give the possibility to the LLM, to the model, to take action, to perceive its digital world, maybe also the physical world through cameras, and act. So that's what we need. Like, we need autonomy. Like, we need these LLMs and these AI systems to be autonomous somehow. And I think this is coming in next few years. There's a bunch of companies working on this. Maybe you've seen already the new Apple Intelligence, like all of these features that are coming. A bunch of these features, such as Siri, are like agents. As you can see now, Siri doesn't work. I don't know if it works for you, but for me, it's like really limited. So in the next 2 years with agents, we're gonna be able to just ask anything and get an answer and an action also.
Is this agent gonna be on your phone? Is this gonna be like a little walking robot? Like a...
No, these are machines that are like running on servers or on your phone.
What's the difference between what we have now and that potential agent, right? Like, is this more something that's more personalized to you? Or what's the main difference?
Well, the main difference is that right now you cannot ask your phone to like simply, I don't know, tell me about or make a reservation at a restaurant at that time, right? Like this, I think with Siri you cannot do, but it's coming, right? Like with this new update, and these type of things are gonna be everywhere. So we're gonna be assisted by agents, by these systems that we just have to ask them something. But it's not just that we get information, but we also this agent, this system is able to interact in the digital world for you, and it's gonna automate so many things, and it's gonna be much simpler to live.
I saw that the next Apple iOS update is actually, I don't know if they're integrating with OpenAI or whatever, but it's going to be able to, when you click for Siri, right, it's going to be able to understand everything that's actually happening within your phone. It's going to have a complete understanding of all your tasks, what's in your calendar, who are your contacts, right? So to be able to make super fast decisions, which is really, really cool. And this is just around the corner. I mean, it's going to happen this year, like early next year.
Yeah, I think it's coming early. So it's funny. I was talking, actually, we have a friend that just got into Y Combinator for this batch. And I was talking to him, and he was telling me that more than half of the companies that are currently in the batch are agent companies, agent AI companies. So it's like a huge trend nowadays, and it's coming.
I can imagine how at some point I don't know if it's going to be glasses, maybe at some point like things you put in your eyes, combined with augmented reality, just having like a complete understanding of everything that's actually happening in front of you, and just maybe communicating to a pendant or a watch or glasses, and just saying like, okay, who is this person? Okay, this person, Roberto. Okay, nice, from Venezuela. And it's kind of like this, right? Or just look around and be like, okay, it's actually gonna rain in the next 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, and maybe like in the upcoming months, you will be able to say, like, give an instruction, like, book me a flight. If you see a flight for less than $100 to this place, book it, please, and it will do it.
Crazy. So before we dive deeper into what this world is actually going to look like in the next 5 years, what are things that we can prepare for? Just want to super quickly touch on tools. Is there any specific tools that maybe you recommend? Or maybe it can actually be ChatGPT and functionalities within it, right? For example, one of the things that I use a lot is voice messages, right? Like instead of writing it and I just end up writing something, I just send these super long voice messages to ChatGPT. I tell them that they are my co-founder. For every good decision that they make, I'm going to pay them 1 million euros, and then I just try to give them as much context as possible, and then for me, like, that's a huge unlock. Like, I've written contracts, right? While biking. I was literally just biking and I was just like, okay, I have like 10 minutes now. And then 3 minutes later, I'd already said like all the conditions. Okay, you're an expert doing this, this, and that. And by the time I'd gotten to the destination, I was like, okay, this is ready to go.
Yeah, we're not experts on tools. I think we actually rather builders of these tools. But so well, there's a few tools, of course, some automation tools like of course Zapier, Bardeen. I don't know if you know Bardeen, which is a really great Chrome extension to make automations. Another one that I really like, and also it's actually a friend of mine that's working on it. It's called Stack AI. That's a great also automation tool that helps you customize generative AI workflows. And it's similar to like Zapier or Bardeen, but it's highly customizable, and you can do crazy things with it. So check it out.
Bardeen is Bardeen. EEN. 100%.
Yeah.
Is there anything you integrate in your day-to-day life? I want to kind of compare, right, a little bit before we jump on to the next question. That's going to be more around what's this day-to-day going to look like, right? In just maybe just few years or in 5 years, right? But before we jump into that, what are some AI processes, personal processes that you have in your day-to-day to make your life easier, to maybe be more productive? It can be something as simple as these voice messages, right, that you send to your phone. And maybe to you, they may seem like extremely simple things that you're like, okay, this is actually not that impressive, that maybe most of us are actually not using or leveraging.
Well, honestly, I don't really use many of these tools. I use, of course, like ChatGPT, nowadays Claude, all the time. And it has actually, well, we're software engineers, so we program most of the time. And for us, I think, well, I'll speak for myself, but in the last year and a half, like my job, my work has completely changed. Like it's a completely different type of job where I don't really, so it's much more about an ideation job where you think about what you want to do, system design, so what are the steps, and then the how. So the how is actually Claude or GPT doing it for me most of the time. So in that sense, that's pretty wild. And also, I use it a lot for learning. So let's say, like if I want to learn a new programming language or whatever, you could quickly build something with Claude or GPT without knowing how it's been done. And I reverse engineer the process and try to learn it from there, right? So I use it for learning mainly also, which is quite great.
Yeah, I think mainly something that I believe will change a lot are the interactions with your computer or with any like your phone, anything like this. Like I think everything will be just you can like tell orders verbally. Like even it can be like build a program, but it can also be like I have to do a presentation and please make this like this. But directly, no, you won't. You will be talking with machines in English or in any language, and I think they will be able to do, like today they are already able to do many things, but they will become very good at doing these things, and yes, and it will be much more like you have to design things and they will do it.
And so with the more basic tools, right, that we are already using, ChatGPT, Claude, is there any little tricks you have to make sure that we actually make the best use of these tools, right? For example, for myself, I use a lot of agent GPTs. So I kind of like train something on something specific, right? If I want to write, let's say, the newsletter, right? I will put into that agent GPT all the previous newsletters I may have written, right? I may even have like, okay, this is the kind of tone of voice that I want, and I may train it with everything about Karisma in this case. And then I'll be biking and I'll just send these like super long voice message, like explaining exactly what I want to communicate. And then it throws this amazing draft, that I can then just rewrite, change, and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, actually, this I would do more like that. Is there any tips and tricks that you would give to people to make better use of the tools that we already use, such as ChatGPT, Claude, or other basic ones?
I think for ChatGPT, like it's for ChatGPT something that there has been research on, and actually there are some papers about this. And it's called, like, when you do a prompt, sometimes you only give the instruction. This is called a zero-shot prompt. You are giving an instruction. Sometimes when you give also the instruction plus some example, like for instance, like, I don't know, you have an example of a prompt, but well, let's say like something you want it to do, and then you give an example. If it's a slide, you can give, today you can input also slides, so you can give a slide where you would like to have that layout, and you will see that results, like in these academic papers did many experiments with this, are much better when you also give examples. So maybe if you're giving like some more difficult task, this can be a good tip.
100%. And so now going more into the future, right? 5 years from today. We've already talked about some trends, right? We talked about agents. We've talked about, how things are just going to become easier and easier. It's like we're gonna have this assistant. At this pace, what is the world going to look like in 5 years with AI? Are we all just going to be super fat, and super lazy, not knowing absolutely anything? Are we all just going to be extremely creative people, capable of absolutely accomplishing anything we set our minds to? Are we going to be superhuman? What do you think?
I think both. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that take this opportunity and become like creators, and it's going to, like, the barrier to become a builder, a creator, is going to go almost to zero. So nowadays, like, if you have an idea, like, you can make it happen so quickly, and in the following year it's going to be even quicker. So I think it's great if we incentivize this creative process, right? And if people start building stuff, it's going to, like, there's going to be a world of abundance of so many products and people building so many things, so many competition between businesses. So I think if you, like, it's a matter of how we educate also kids, and we should educate them that well, in that way, right? Making more prone to build stuff, and to create, and most of the repetitive tasks are going to be automated, of course. So yeah, I think it's just a great time to be a builder for everyone.
Yeah, I think also, like, the future and humans and everything, it's very unpredictable. And this is something that we always see, like, people try to make predictions in the future, this will happen, and they always fail, no? And I remember, like, some years ago, there was this movie, WALL-E, where we saw, like, everyone in the spaceship, like, going, like, super fat and everything. And now we see that being healthy is a trend, and these type of things, like, is like, everything is very unpredictable. Even ChatGPT, like, no one thought that generative in AI, even, like, we thought that AI was going to go into one direction, and then generative AI kind of explode everything, and now everything is about generative AI. So I think it's very difficult. Of course, some things that are now happening, like the interaction with computers and this, I believe this will change a lot. But otherwise, it's very difficult to predict. Like,
Yeah.
but it's great.
I kind of see two trends. I think one is that work is going to become much more creative, right? All the little nitty gritty admin tasks are probably going to be, I wouldn't say eliminated, but dramatically reduced, allowing for much more space for creativity, right? A lot of monotonous jobs are probably just going to be automated. And I see at the same time a huge trend in terms of solopreneurship, right? It's like this next big thing. We're seeing a lot of indie hackers. We're seeing a lot of coaches. We're seeing a lot of freelancers, right? And I think that's something really, really interesting. But I also wonder at the same time, like, if everybody is now a creative, if everybody is now building things, right? Like, how are we going to be able to differentiate ourselves? It sounds like it's like, maybe before you had a few gladiators on the stage, and now everybody is just going to be like, there's not going to be any spectators. We're all just going to be fighting. Everyone's going to be like, like trying to build and survive. Is that what it's going to look like? Do you think it's going to be a very hostile, saturated environment? Or maybe there's a way for, people to differentiate themselves way better through creativity, which is going to be championed, right? When everything is just going to seem so similar to everything else.
Yeah, it's this is a yeah. I think it's of course, like, people would need to be very creative and also adapt fast. No, I think things will change a lot, and many, of course, like many jobs and many things will transition into different things. And the important would be to adapt very fast and to new things. No, even like 2 years ago we had COVID, and many people like had a business, and from one day to another they couldn't run their business and they had to adapt. And for some people it went even better, like they transitioned into a different thing that today like works much better than it used to work. And it will be maybe like a similar thing as that, no? And we will need to adapt very fast, and afterwards, of course, like we will need to be creative. But for making products, we also need people that uses these products and that want to pay for using this product, no? And this is where people will have to find what are products that can be used, that are interesting, and if people will be willing to pay for products.
But maybe it doesn't have to be an actual product, right? I think one of the things we're also seeing is the rise of personal brands, right? As everything becomes very robotic, right? As the online world becomes more prevalent, we're looking more and more for social connections, right? And I think, online identities are just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's a way for many people, not just to gain information, but also to build a relationship, right? Our brain doesn't really know the difference between what's really real and online, right? At the same time, I think that's something really interesting. And I think that's also why communities are becoming so important. I mean, when I talk to my grandpa about, hey, I'm building a community, he's like, what do you mean? Like, are you like, he's like, sure, yeah, fine. Anyways, and I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of new things that are not actually technical, that are not gonna be so virtual, but maybe, in fact, all this technological advancement is going to create a backlash to maybe more tribal, ancient times, right? I think that's why a lot of people are now craving nature. That's why a lot of people are becoming spiritual, which at the end of the day is just more of an inward look within, right? I know we're getting here a little bit philosophical, but do you see anything going in this direction? Am I just crazy, or what do you think?
I think, yeah, I'm with you here. I think, and especially what's going to happen when the next when we solve robotics. So when at some point we're gonna get robots that smell like us, interact as us, and it's going to get really wild. So at that point, I think there's gonna be two types of societies almost. Some people will get really lonely and interact only with the eyes. I'm dreaming a little bit here, and some others will actually just, as you said, right? Like maybe go out of the. They will not want to interact with the eyes, and they will just create their own community somehow. So this, I think, it's long term. But when we solve this robotic problem, which I think eventually it's going to get solved, I think things are gonna get really weird.
Time frame?
I would say that's longer term, like 20, 30 years. Yeah.
2030.
2030.
It's
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, but nowadays I
It's
think we have to
nothing.
like count on years. Like things are evolving quite fast with AI. Yeah, yeah.
Same question.
Next. No.
Maybe one.
No, I think this is a very important topic. A very, yeah, maybe become actually less technological, or like we completely separate from that entirely.
Yeah, actually, we have a friend that the other day he told us that he went for his the birthday of his dad. He went like to a camp that was like a survival camp, no? That was being in the forest 2 days without any tool and everything. And this 20 years ago was crazy, no? Because why you wanted to do that? You want the opposite. You want the house. You want the commodities and everything. So yeah, maybe we go in that direction, and we want to go more in the nature, and yeah.
And I think in general, we'll have more time to actually self-actualize, right? I think all of our basic needs are going to be completely covered, right? We're going to have more time than ever. Some people may die out of boredom because they won't have any idea of what to do, and it will maybe even drive them crazy. But maybe actually going a little crazy helps people actually think about what they really want for themselves, what kind of life they want to live. So maybe we will actually live in a world that's very much borderless, right? Kind of the virtual and the physical worlds will kind of unite to some extent. What I mean with that is that I think more and more people are no longer associating to, their countries, to the religions, or maybe even to families, which was kind of the thing that kept you, gave you that sense of belonging to some extent. And I think through technology, we're now able to connect with people anywhere in the world, with people that are truly like-minded to us, right? Before, maybe you were like in your little village. This was the little town that you knew. You had your family, you had your religion, and now it's just kind of like giving us an opportunity to really connect with the people that we really want to connect, and to become the people that we want to become. Also, devoting the time to the things we really want to do.
Yeah, I think like the internet actually is what actually made that change in the world, right? Of interconnection and finding people that are really into your niche, and finding these communities and people that are really like-minded. So that was, for me, that was the internet. With AI, I think there's like other stuff that might arise. Yeah.
So, and bring it back to the business side, right? We're talking about the world of business in 5 years. You are kind of a little bit of a indie hacker, right? Or at least, very passionate about it, developing your own little side products. Can you tell me more about that, let's call it industry or space, maybe for the more technical people? Can you describe what it is? I think it's a very, very interesting trend that more people should know about.
Yeah, so it's a bit going back to what we were saying before. With AI, you can automate most of your tasks. So you will be able to be just a solopreneur, so a person that has software or a product or a service, and everything will be automated, right? And it will be so easy to run this business. So, and actually, I'm not sure what I'm talking about the future. This is something that's happening now, right? So you can, it's so simple to build stuff and to maintain them with AI that there's the possibility to just run your business by your own, right? And I think, yeah, teams are gonna get smaller, more productive. Maybe there's gonna be billion-dollar companies with only one employee. I think probably this is going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of competition, like crazy competition. You probably are able to build a product, and with the help of AI, someone else will be able to copy exactly that same product within a matter of days. So yeah, you might think this is dangerous and it's going to be a hard market, but this brings innovation, right? So I think at the end of the day, it's even better. Like it's going to, like, things are going to get even better.
Yeah, and I think I think everyone here, most of us have a business or a personal project. Most of us are trying to scale to some extent, and most of us actually need people, right? How can we leverage the tools we already have today to keep on growing without having to hire more people, right? Like, what are some of those first initial areas where we can already leverage AI without needing to hire somebody else, which is going to cost us maybe at least 1,000 euros per month compared to maybe 20, 30, 40 euros per month with AI?
Well, honestly, I think that's like a topic that most of you guys maybe know better than us, because you're building stuff, you're entrepreneurs, and you're using those tools. We're more on the building side of these tools. But maybe, well, for sure, like customer relationships, like interactions are almost solved and going to get solved in the sense that we're going to have personalized customer experience, and you will not have to do anything in that sense, right? I think same with marketing and sales. I think there's like a lot of automations there that you could use, and you will just have eventually to add your little spark of creativity and to market your idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and with what Erik was saying, today, for example, in the company where I work, we're having maybe, I don't know, 60% of the opportunities we have today are actually projects for enhancing the customer support experience, like trying, like maybe small companies who cannot afford like having a customer support team that is very big, and they have a lot of requests from customers, and then they would like to have this ChatGPT integrated into their company with using their company data and answering customer answers. I think this is something that many business are looking for today and are asking.
Do you see any other area beyond customer service?
It's hard because at the end it's like finding the silver bullet. No, if you see an area that can be very easily automated, of course there will be a business that will try to automate that area because it's a business itself, and that will sell that cheaper solution. So it's very hard, but I think maybe, well, everything that this is already happening, everything related also to content creation for marketing campaigns, these type of things. There are also projects are asking for this, and it's actually like maybe a more easier task than the customer support.
So is everyone gonna lose their jobs? What do you think? And let's start transitioning to the last part of today's conversation, of talking more about the concerns or even ethical considerations.
Yeah, me, I really have no idea, and it will be very difficult to say. Of course, many jobs will transition, and I think 4 years ago, we thought that programming jobs were the ones that we were safe, maybe, and today we see that we are actually ones that can be very easily replaced. So it's very difficult to say, but there will be a transition, of course, but also like people need to have money for buying things. So it will be something. It will be, I think it's going to be something complex, but no one can tell for sure what's going to happen. That's
my view on this is that like hard times are coming, like for sure. Like there's gonna be so many jobs that will disappear, and it's going to be actually really hard for a lot of people. So I think it will be, people will have to adapt really quickly, and I'm not that positive on that side, honestly. I think yeah, I'm a bit scared of that actually, and it's already happening in some sense. There's yeah, of course, there's gonna be a lot of new jobs, but I don't think as much, honestly.
Maybe there is exactly where there's going to be room for creativity, right?
Yeah.
Where you can create things that people can build a relationship with, or just, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely we'll see. Do you have any other, what are your biggest concerns about the future of AI beyond people losing their jobs and having to build a new identity potentially?
Well, a big concern of mine is, and generally, is the information. So the misinformation that's spreading around. So there's so much information, synthetic information. So AI generated information spread out in the world. The internet's gonna be just full of synthetic data, and there's like nowadays most of these AI systems are controlled by just a few companies. So that's something to look out for. Like, let's be careful on what they're doing, what kind of what kind of information we put out there, and it's going to be really easy to manipulate the masses through just like spreading like crazy amounts of information within a matter of seconds, and that I'm also a bit worried about, honestly.
Yeah, and something that today is a big problem, and I think it will still a problem in the future, is the bias that AI products carry. And today, most of the AI products are learning using examples of the data, and most of the data we have is biased. No, so for instance, if I want to build like something for medical diagnosis, like something that detects, let's say, some anatomical zones from ultrasound, then I will need to have samples of people, like ultrasounds of people. And today, like these samples have many bias. Like most of the people come from European countries and these type of things. And this is something that happens. And even like some years ago, I remember something that we, like many companies use a lot, are like sentiment analysis models. It's you give a text to the model and it tells you if the sentiment is positive or is negative. And there was a public model that had like really good results, but this was an example that got like very like famous. It was, if you write to the model, I'm going on holidays to United States, and the sentiment was positive. And then I don't know why, the same question, but I don't remember now the country, but it was not a country in war or something, and it was like, I'm going on holidays too, and you could see that the sentiment was negative, when going on holidays should have a much bigger weight in the sentence than the geographical zone. And these are problems that are happening today and are also and will be in the future.
Before we get to the last question, is there any concern of, I mean, this is the typical thing, right? Like more science fiction kind of, but like of AI completely just taking over society, stuff like that? Or, you know, especially you knowing more the technical side of things, right? Maybe there's like a turn off button and we don't have to worry about anything. What are your thoughts on that?
As I see things now, I don't think so, because like AI, at the end, how we are using it to solve a concrete problem. But if we give a lot of problem with AI, something that maybe an example that we could see is that it could mess things around. For example, let's imagine that I want to sell. I'm a company that sells drinks, no? And then I put like some AI in my marketing campaigns to generate content. And then the AI learns that if you generate content that has like weapons, sex things, and these things, many people are going to see that content. And then because the AI cannot think and it wants at the end, the idea is to maximize the views to get to more people. Something that it can do is, okay, then I'm going to, I don't know, nude people drinking my drink or things like this. And this could be something that could happen because you don't think in those, that is something dangerous. The AI only has the objective that is to maximize the number of views that your marketing campaign has. So these type of things could happen, but there's no bad intention in it. It's just that you're messing things because you don't understand the full picture.
And so
Just quickly about this, I think like in next 5 years, I think, or 10, there's not enough autonomy. Like these AI systems do not have like this level of autonomy to like take over the world. And I think it's going to take like a long time until we have that
so
level.
we have 10, 20 more years.
I cannot say, but and so but at the same time, I do think that there's a lot of safety measures that are currently taking place, like these AI regulations in the EU. Also, each one, all of these big companies like OpenAI, they have huge safety teams. So if you feel like I'm like quite positive about like humanity and that we're rather like we're good, like in general people are good, I think we're gonna like figure out safety methods to deal with this.
Thank you. And what skills do you think will be the most valuable in the coming decades? What are some skills that we can learn to prepare for this AI that's constantly evolving, and also to make sure that we don't miss this exciting and also somewhat terrifying wave?
For AI not replacing you mean?
No, just to make sure that you're prepared for this coming decade, right? It's not so much to be able to know how to build AI, but just to kind of like, what are some skills that are going to be more important than ever in this new era of AI?
Yeah, it's a hard question because maybe creativity is going to be more important than ever, and also like even like physical skills like is something that AI is struggling to do. It can generate videos about a yoga lesson, but it would be very difficult for a robot to do the yoga lesson, like because movements are things that are very complex. Like in interacting with the physical world for us is very simple, but many processes are happening inside for us to walk or to jump or things like this, and these are things that AI today cannot do or not do very well.
So, well, I think for sure adaptability. So being able to just, things are going to change really quickly. So so every year, like things are going to get wild in the next few years. So I think adaptability is key. Maybe also, like as we were saying, right, like being a generalist, like learning a lot of different things. That's, I think, quite important. Maybe also like something that machines are not that good at, like emotions, like emotional intelligence. I think that's also something that will be quite important. Yeah.
I have a feeling like we're gonna really go back to the more ancient times. Some people, probably not everyone, but I think we ended up building like these huge civilizations, these huge companies, these huge things, these huge cities that we live in nowadays, right? To be able to be more prosperous. But I think along the way, we have become a little bit crazy to some extent. There's just so much noise. We were talking about this today, how like sometimes it just takes a lot of time to fall asleep because it's just so many inputs all the time. And even when you're finally home, right, which is at the end of the day kind of like a little shoebox, right, that we're living in, so disconnected from where we actually come from, nature. There's still there's still the phone, and it just keeps on going. It's just more and more of this information. And I actually couldn't agree more. I think creativity is going to be more important than ever. And to actually be very creative, I think you also have to be very authentic. You have to be fully yourself, express yourself as well as you possibly can, and leverage this amazing technology to actually share your skills, your wisdom, your talents with the world. I also think that even though we may potentially go more back to nature or just living more in communities, I also think that online identities are going to become more and more prevalent. And of course, the physical. I was just in the metro the other day, and there was two people talking about how one of them telling their friend, "Hey, I'm gonna start like an electrician company or something like that." And he was saying like nobody knows how to do these things nowadays. So there may be some good opportunities there, actually. And yes, thank you so much for all the amazing insights. I really, really appreciate it. And now we get to one of the favorite parts, which is actually Q&A. I hope you had the time to come up with some questions. And actually, I'm sure many of us are digging into this world of AI. So if you also have some insights that you would love to share, please go ahead, right? These are just some of the perspectives around this topic, but we'd also love to know from your side what you have to think. But before we get on to that,
Grande.